good to have you with us for another episode of Just Nigeria, brought to you by the BBC and Channels Television. And here we track stories online in the news and unpack what they mean for everyday Nigerians. I am Wale Fakile. We begin with our top story. Across Nigeria, temperatures are rising, but millions are facing more than the intense heat. They are struggling to power their homes and businesses as electricity from the national grid becomes increasingly unreliable. In this story, Just Nigeria's Sarah Ayeku explores what the worsening blackout reveals about Nigeria's power sector and how it is reshaping daily living for many Nigerians.
In Nigeria, power outages are nothing new. But when the dry season comes and fuel prices are skyrocketing, the trouble is compounded.
No light, we are here suffering.
Generator, that's the only option.
Want to apologize for this temporary issue.
Beyond government apologies, how can Nigerians access consistent power supply? For more than 200 million Nigerians, stable and affordable power supply is a desired lifeblood. But for years, that wish has continued to meet an immovable brick wall.
These gas companies have the option of selling it as exports at more than double of what local plants are paying. Beyond that, when they supply to the power plants, they are not getting paid. They are only getting a proportion of what the sector pays, which today is about 35% to 40%. So they are being owed.
To understand Nigeria's electricity crisis, you must follow the money and the power.
More than 70% of electricity generated in Nigeria comes from natural gas. So it all starts with the gas producers. These companies extract and sell gas to power generating companies known as GENCOs. The GENCOs use the gas to fire thermal plants and produce electricity. From there, electricity moves to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, the TCN, which carries power across the national grid. Next are the distribution companies, the DISCOs. They handle delivering electricity to homes and businesses. And finally, Nigerians will pay for the electricity distributed. But here is the catch. The money flows in the opposite direction. Consumers pay DISCOs. DISCOs are expected to remit that money to a government bulk trader known as NBET. NBET then pays the power generators, who in turn pay gas suppliers. If that chain breaks at any point, the entire system begins to collapse.
If you can't pay for that gas, then at some point the gas provider is going to maybe shut off the taps. What that means for the GENCOs in that situation is then they don't have the raw material, the resources they need to be able to produce power.
We are owed 6.8 trillion at a monthly accumulation or shortfall of 200 billion. So that is a major challenge. Without finance, we're not able to service the machines. Without finance, we're not able to pay even salaries.
Electricity in Nigeria is no longer about access. It's about who can afford it. Across states and cities, a quiet divide is widening. On one side, out of the 4,000 megawatts Nigeria generates, the country's commercial hub, Lagos, gets 1,051 megawatts. Despite this lion's share, many homes and businesses here are powered by solar panels, inverters, and battery systems.
Having an inverter, which is something I'm considering, is really, really expensive. Electricity, 20,000 naira. I'm on band B, right? I get over 200 units. I can use that for almost a month. But when I have to buy fuel, I'm spending about 200,000 on fuel.
I try to run on solar during the day, because of the sun. I had to upgrade my batteries to a lithium batteries, to make them last longer. And I think a lithium battery costs about 3 million for one. That means I've spent about over 20 million investing on solar just between 2025 and now.
On the other side, millions of Nigerians are still waiting for electricity from the national grid. In Ankpa, a community in Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, residents have lived in darkness for over 2 years.
Electricity. We don't have electricity in the town.
Now solar they use because of the light we're not steady.
The way the sector is organized is that all the power plants that were done earlier before the reform are all vested on the grid. So they're not supplied to a rural area where they belong.
In hospitals, electricity is not optional. Every second without power comes with a risk. That reality is biting hard in parts of Adabawa.
My test has been delayed because of the absence of power supply. Whenever they use another means of power supply, the bill used to increase.
I cannot do anything without this light. And imagine they are supplying me only 2 to 4 hours in a day.
Government owns the transmission. So government determines what investment is going to transmission. And a lot of the decisions that go into the transmission expansion is not commercial. It's political.
In 2013, Nigeria's federal government handed over the power sector to private investors. Generation and distribution infrastructure was sold to boost efficiency, investment, and stable electricity. On paper, the system looks simple, but in reality, that system seems to be breaking at every level.
The companies that took over were unable to meet very often the demand, the agreements that they had made, but also not just because of them, but also because there were also things that were happening in the market, sometimes political, that didn't allow them meet the targets.
In 2023, one of the first major laws signed by President Bola Tinubu was the Electricity Reform Act, a policy many hoped would finally fix Nigeria's power sector. The act allows states, private investors, and communities to generate and distribute electricity independently.
The government of Abia State would have a say in how the business of power is done in Abia. And that is why we count ourselves as very lucky because this is probably the first place that this kind of integrated power project has been commissioned.
And in January 2026, the governor said the state had become immune to disruptions from the national grid. While state governments are looking for sustainable energy solutions, debts accrued over the years and political interference in the sector remain. But experts warn that as more businesses and households abandon the national grid, the system could become even weaker.
As more and more people leave the grid will become less and less affordable. Because the reason why the grid is affordable is because the cost is spread over.
The elephant in the room is the idea of whether we're actually still going to be paying subsidies or not. If we're not paying subsidies on electricity, it needs to be announced quickly that there will no longer be any subsidy. It will be phased out in this way, and it's going to be transparent and everybody will understand the cost and the consumers will pay.
But what will it take for the lights to stay on across Nigeria?
91% of the power that currently is being distributed is consumed by houses, that is residentials, who do not produce anything, and only 9% of it is used by industries. In other climes, the reverse is the case.
So I hope that some of these discomforts will push the people who need to take the decisions and implement those decisions, I hope.
From state-led power projects to growing investments in solar and mini grids, experts say fixing Nigeria's electricity crisis will require consistent policy, better funding, and accountability across the entire value chain. Sarah Ayeku, Gist Nigeria.
We're living through tough times, no doubt. Now, are you coping with the heat and constant blackouts? Share your experience with us on X at Just Nigeria TV. Let's hear from you.